fresh from the showcase here at SwissWatch Expo, we've got a whole lot of Aqua Terras.
Yeah, I love this watch because it really embodies the idea that you could have one watch that could kind of do everything, that it can be a little bit toward dressy, but it's a sporty watch on a steel bracelet. It kind of has the same feel to me as a Rolex Datejust that people would be more familiar with, where it's a little sporty but a little dressy and kind of the one all-purpose watch.
It's an interesting thought because actually it's compared directly to the Explorer.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they took the idea of the Seamaster and they kind of took from the Datejust too, let's be honest,
Okay.
right? Because they wanted to give that more elegant case, and to be very clear, it does very much look like a Datejust case. But they claim that it is a competitor with the Explorer. Why? Because they only appeared, and a lot of people think they've been around a long time, they've only been around since 2003.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
When I first realized that, obviously I've been around the watch world for a long time, I felt like they'd been around a long time because the Seamaster name had been around a long time, and I knew that the Aqua Terra was sort of an offshoot of the Seamaster, so in my brain I'm thinking, yeah, this thing's been around since, I don't know, the 70s at least?
Plus it's got a lot of the historically Omega design cues. If you look at the lugs, it's the same twisted lug that we've seen on the Speedmaster since the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
You know, and the crown looks very similar. It has an Omega aesthetic, an Omega feel to it that seems to go back longer than the reality is.
Absolutely. So there's been a couple of changes, and I say couple kind of with a load of sarcasm because there's been a lot of changes. The Aqua Terra is sort of like, you know, I think watch guys are a lot into cars too, right?
Sure.
So I attribute the Aqua Terra to my feel of what Pontiac was for General Motors. It was the test division. All the new fancy stuff came out on the Pontiacs first, and then it sort of creeped into everything else, the Cadillacs and the Chevrolets,
That makes
right?
sense.
Yeah, so all the neat new technology pops up here. And Aqua Terra started out as the idea of something you could wear absolutely every day. It didn't have the depth rating of the Seamaster, but it was a rugged piece. It was thinner. It was nicer. It started out with a satin bracelet, which we can actually see on this one. And I'm grabbing this one first. It's a quartz model. They do have a quartz model of this one. A lot of people don't remember that it even exists. It's very lightweight. It's got the satin bracelet. It's a really nice piece. It does not have the Teak dial, which is something that the the Aqua Terra, see, even I get confused sometimes. The Aqua Terra has the Teak dial, and the vertical dial, this is very important, is the first dial, okay? It wasn't until recently that they went with the horizontal Teak dial, meaning the original lines on the dial ran sort of 12 to 6, now they run from 9 to 3.
And this is the design aesthetic that Omega says it's inspired by the teak decking on the decks of sailing yachts, that it's supposed to evoke this idea of adventure, that the watch is good for the land or the sea, Aqua Terra. That's what the two words would mean. So it's an interesting design choice they made with the vertical lines and then horizontal. I don't know why they made the change. Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know the deal with that either. I believe it was just simply they needed to make a change in sort of some things about, it's a master chronometer now. They wanted to differentiate the new movement versus the old movement.
Okay.
I think it was just sort of something, again, they're testing.
Maybe one of those things that just so that for the convenience, so that you could look at it and know which one it is.
Yes, and there's a very strong feeling about which one people like.
Okay.
People either like the vertical or they like the horizontal, and there's not much in between.
Really?
Yeah, and so there's been a couple of different models that have sort of brought technology in, and let's talk about that for a second, because the new 8500 series, excuse me, movement that they introduced is the coaxial movement, and that particular movement introduced the 15,000 Gauss, so you have magnetic resistance, and with all of the electronics and things that we have these days, if you have an older watch, you may notice that it gets magnetized rather quickly, it starts running fast, it may run a little bit slow, there's all kinds of things that magnetism do. And of course, when you're running through the airports and things like that, you're being scanned by magnets. It's all kinds of crazy things that are happening. So these watches incorporate a lot of technology that you can wear absolutely every day. Also, they have a high shock resistance value. Now, one of the things that they came out with when they introduced the 15,000 Gauss anti-magnetic was this is what a lot of people refer to as the bumblebee hand. To me, it looks like one of those construction arm hands, right? Yeah. So, or one of those don't enter hands, at an apartment complex or your neighborhood where it's like stop. Right. So it's sort of signifying that they're stopping something in my mind.
And that magnetism rating is really high. I mean, the Rolex Milgauss was for 10,000, and this is at 15,000.
Right. So, Omega's always at the top of the list, and everybody else seems to be chasing them quite a bit. So, and of course, we're going to talk about the Explorer a little bit later, so you'll be able to give us some more information about the Explorer. And interesting how, when we talk about this, you mentioned the Yachtmaster earlier. In my mind, this sort of is playing with all of that. For a lot less price, you can obtain a watch that's absolutely incredible. Coaxial movement, master chronometer certified, so the plus or minus seconds are really, really low. I mean, it's a super accurate watch. One of the other watches that's available that we have here, which is really interesting, for the 15th anniversary, the orange hand. This is the Rory McIlroy golf watch. It has the orange hand. Now, the Sergio Garcia was the first one to appear in 2015, and that one had a green hand for the Green Golf Series, which, if you're a big golf fan, you know that Rolex sponsors a lot of golf tournaments, but Omega does too. So it's like, they're fighting with each other for the top post. It's pretty roundly understood that the Omega is handling a lot more vibration and a lot more impact resistance than some of the other watches out there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do they, we tell people all the time that they really just should not play golf wearing a nice mechanical watch. That even though it seems like not a big impact when you hit a golf ball compared to, say, hitting a baseball, it really is. And I've seen an interesting video of a micro camera that was inside a movement when someone hit a golf ball, and it was in slow-mo, and that movement, it looks like the San Francisco earthquake going off in there.
Yeah.
But I know these watches are really impact resistant, and that they've got anti-shock mechanisms in them. Is it so much that Omega would be willing to say you can play golf in this watch?
Not only do they say it, they encourage it.
Wow.
Yeah, so they are absolutely confident that if you can play golf in your Omega, and you shouldn't have any problems.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's but with that coaxial movement, the stability of that coaxial movement is supposed to be superior, which is why they have the coaxial movement, right? So they introduced the GMT function, and this is sort of wild because both of these watches here have that GMT function. One of them actually has the third hand, so the hour hand. It's got the standard hour hand, minute hand, and then the GMT hand. Right. Very, very clear on the dial. This is a chronograph, and it's a dual chronograph, and on this one, the sub-seconds dial just has a 24-hour indicator on it. So not only do you have the hour indicator for the chronograph collection, but also the hour indicator for the GMT function. Kind of an interesting one.
A lot going on one watch.
Yeah, but an absolutely beautiful dial. It's got that blue-green, sea green, I guess. I'm not even sure how I would describe that color, honestly. It's kind of a teal and a green and a blue. It's wild. As the color changes, it's an amazing piece. So Omega with the Aqua Terra is new to the industry, especially for the name, since 2003. It is something that you can wear absolutely every day. The price point is amazing. You have the quartz model, the GMT model. You got the models that you can golf in. And now they have, allegedly, they're coming out with a 160,000 Gauss watch that will be coming to market at some point. It's supposed to be fancy. Wow. They've got various versions of this. They've got gold, platinum, and the stainless steel. Omega really spans the gamut of what you can buy with the Aqua Terra. It's a great watch.
And this resistance to magnetism, it's not like the IWC where you see that soft iron core that's protecting the movement. It's that the movement is made out of high-tech alloys that are resistant themselves to becoming magnetized.
Absolutely. Right? Yep. So that's the Aqua Terra. We could continue to keep going on and on because this is an amazing watch and it's beautiful. We have them all here at SwissWatch Expo. See them on SwissWatchExpo.com. If you have any questions, obviously give us a call.